What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Talk on Titan. This is our weekly breakdown of each episode of Attack on Titan Season 4. I am here with a new invite of a new guest lineup. I am here with Nerd Chronic and Video Drew, better known as Drew and Eric, or Eric and Drew, joining us today to talk about the newest episode of Attack on Titan. Guys, I gotta ask, first of all, how are you feeling this Sunday? But how have you felt these past Sundays as far as Season 4, Part 2 so far?
Yeah, we're always excited to watch and talk about Attack on Titan. But I mean, it's funny. This Sunday, comparably, is kind of I think it has been the tamest episode of the season so far, just as far as like what's been happening in it. But otherwise, yes, every Sunday has been crazy. Like it's just like the stakes kept getting higher and higher with each episode until like now. Last week was insane with what happened.
I came into this show kind of late. I think this is the first season I've gotten to watch in real time. Yeah. The first half and the second half that I've gotten to watch in real time. And it's very frustrating to have to go back to like a model of like when you've been streaming a show and binging it to then have to wait every week to like, I basically like the way I conceive of weeks now is like Sunday is Attack on Titan Day. And then every day is just a countdown till Attack on Titan Day.
Yeah, somewhere in there with Boba Fett.
Yeah, somewhere in there is Boba Fett and Peacemaker.
Yeah, I swear this show is absolutely nuts. It's kind of crazy how it's just a roller coaster of emotions and what it makes you feel, especially knowing that it is like, this is it. This is what we're going to get, the final season. So whatever happens, happens. This journey has been quite a long one. Eric and Drew, remind me real quick of your guys' journey through Attack on Titan. Are you guys like, start season 2, season 3?
I started in season 1, probably like 10 or so episodes into it and like caught up.
Yes.
So I was part of the group that waited through that 4.5 year hiatus of the show for it to come back for season 2. So it was like nuts, and I knew a lot of friends who like had fallen off by that point. And but then actually I kept watching it since then as it was going, and I didn't catch up on season 3 when it aired. I caught up again as it finished and getting into it. And then when we met and she moved in, I tried to convince her because you hadn't watched like an anime of like anything
ever. This is my first anime.
Yeah, and so you're just like, you told me like, I thought anime was like Pokemon and stuff like that. So I was like, no, I think you'll like this. I think you'll like it. And you were just so like, for the first episode, obviously you were just so like, I didn't know this is what this could be.
Yeah, I was also like very scared, which is weird because I like a lot of horror, but like this Attack on Titan scared me like on a like existential level. Like the fact that these Titans never get any less terrifying. In fact, like the more human they become or seem, or like you realize the connection between them, like the scarier and like sadder and like more existentially bereft these creatures are. Like I think this week was like perfectly encapsulated in Pixis, yeah, like just watching his Titan form and like seeing like sort of like the almost like pain and anguish that was like coming out, thinking about Connie's mom, like just like they're able to say a couple words like to her son, like able to have some humanity like behind the Titanness. Like it's a very scary show. It's like one of the more scary things I've ever seen in my life. I came into it really late, but
Yeah, no, it is. It's definitely very scary. And I'm with you, Eric, as far as like a day oneer, as far as like a season oneer, started all the way back in 2013. This has definitely been quite a long journey. So I definitely understand the pain. And it kind of makes you feel like the longer it's been, the more you kind of feel like you've been a part of this like giant journey as far as the gaps between seasons 1 and 2, pretty much everything else going through seasons 2, 3, and 4. It's a long time coming to finally get to this final season, and this has definitely been quite the final season already. Let's talk about this episode. It's called Thaw. It is the episode right after kind of the massive world-ending episode that we got last week, where Eren decided to empty the walls and trample the Titans and pretty much do away with the rest of the world. I love the addition of the puppies coming in to Frey.
Yeah. Sorry. Like our dog's been a little bit sick, so we're trying to watch it.
No, absolutely. I love it. But after this, we get to catch up basically with the rest of the crew, essentially Armin, Reiner, John, Connie, and everyone else still stuck in Shiganshina district and dealing with everything that has come to be of I'm sorry. It's just because you're right in front of me. Eren's decision. we pick up right with Mr. Lionheart or Larenheart, which is Annie's dad in Liberia, reacting to Eren's broadcast that he did as soon as he shut down the walls and pretty much unleashed the Titans. He is kind of one of the only ones who had a real, like, oh crap, we're gonna all die kind of moment. Did you guys like feel it kind of weird that Liberia didn't react a little bit more manicky or panicky? Or was I the only one who was like, why aren't they all screaming?
Yeah. I think everyone might just be in that initial shock of like, one, like what just happened to us, and two, like what does this mean? Like I guess it's a hard thing to comprehend. Like someone telling you like, hey, like the world's ending, like just so you know.
Like a lot of them, they haven't even seen Titans like in battle, right? Like they're not in this army. Like where would they have ever seen Titans? Like this has all been like a theoretical, being told you're a devil, being like kept in like a ghetto. Like it's all been very theoretical unless they're having a Titan or they've been in the army recently.
Yeah.
So I think for him it's like maybe Eren has some ability to control the members of the children of Ymir. Yeah. But so maybe you are told that he's able to control them a little bit. So maybe he's just got them all to chill out. But I feel like the message here is maybe that if he's telling everyone that, I feel like he's saying, come over to paradise. If you're able to hear me, like this is like a warning, like you can come over to where I am or like where my people are, and we're going to spare that part. So I think it is like a beacon almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so, because obviously we cut to Reiner and Gabby, and they mention escape airships that are able to leave the island. And immediately I thought, I don't know about you guys, I was like, take those ships and just pack them up with people. And take them to paradise. That's what I would do. Because as Gabby said, what can you do? I mean, even if you do warn the world that Titans are coming to trample the world, it's not much that you can hide or not many places you can go except paradise. So you might as well take those airships there. What do you guys think of that whole interaction between Reiner and Gabby kind of debating or talking about what to do with Eren and how they can defeat Eren?
I mean, it makes sense because the first one she says like what happened like to his wound, and he's like, oh, my armor came undone, like I hit by a piece of the wall. I was like, oh, that's weird, like I didn't know I could like just happen, didn't know. Then we learned later it was part of like the larger plot of what's happening. But yeah, it makes sense because they're kind of stuck there, and obviously even though they're Eldian and they have like their squabbles with Eren, they're in a predicament because like they can't necessarily stay there. I'm sure if everything did settle with like the rumbling and stuff, like they would still be in very much a lot of trouble with like Eren and the remaining people.
Wait, because he cut his head off? Was she cut her head off? Is that why you think she'd be in trouble? For cutting his head off with a spear gun? Yeah, maybe.
Or even just his friends too, just like they're gonna be like the brat again.
Yeah. Everyone in town seems to know who she is, but like not well enough to they can recognize her by face, but only by like activity.
Yeah.
They're like, you seem like that girl who came aboard the ship.
Running around with guns.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of did happen later in the episode.
Yeah. Exactly.
I still think it's fun too how I mean we cut to it's kind of hard not to cut to the whole Gabby putting her hair as like Eren's hair. And just pulling a tatakai as she's like getting ready in the mirror. I was like, oh damn, she's pulling an Eren. But it's also go ahead.
Go ahead. You might make the point I'm about to say.
No, I was gonna say Reiner talking about trying to defeat Eren and him talking about coming up with a plan to do that, and that it's impossible. Because to me, the whole situation with Reiner was something that I thought was interesting, because I think Reiner, I mentioned this last week, I felt like Reiner was kind of the only one who really, really knew what Eren was going to do. Because even Armin was kind of in denial, and everyone else, even John said I never knew. But I feel like Reiner was like, this guy's going to destroy the world, and I'm the only one who knows this, and I have to stop this guy. So it's kind of interesting to see his perspective now as being very like defeated and stuff like that.
With Reiner, like I guess it makes sense because like he met Eren with like the knowledge of like what's happening in like the larger world and like what Eren's power really means, and so he would know from day one like Eren's like a psychopath, and like with this power it's in dangerous hands. But what I was gonna say about the hair thing too is like what you pointed out is like I think the hair thing is also like mirroring Sasha, which is why
is.
Gabby saw her, when she saw her save her.
Yeah.
It's like a good callback to like
how she was saved.
style.
Yeah, and she's like, "Save me, big sis," and it's like, yeah. I mean, Gabby and Sasha do have like a lot of similarities, mostly in impulsiveness.
Yeah.
And just like being, like we were rewatching the introduction to Sasha, like right after this episode, and just the way that she's just like, "I'll give you half the potato."
Yeah.
And it cuts off like a fourth of the potato. Kind of both have that like, kind of like tunnel vision, solipsistic worldview. But it is nice to see that she's at least interested in going after Falco.
Yeah. I guess it makes sense, right? Like, this whole show is really centered around like, taking care of like the people that you care about, and like damn the world if like that goes against the status quo. And like that's kind of like what it boils down to with like Eren and his friends, like Eren and Ymir and Falco and Gabby, so on and so on. It's always about like saving like people close to you, at the cost of like the larger status quo,
or the world.
The world.
Just like
the world being the status quo here. And so for Gabby, it makes sense. Like, all she sees now is like Falco. Like the best like saving grace she has is making sure he's okay and not, I guess, fed to Connie's mom.
Yeah, I don't think gonna appreciate that being turned into the Jaw Titan. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't think his mom is going to like waking up and finding out that she's like one of the 9 Titans.
She's like the what?
The what? Yeah. Sorry, what now?
Yeah, that is definitely going to be strange if that actually happens. But let's jump to the rest of the crew or the rest of the squad talking about Eren's decision. So we catch up with John and Connie, who did in fact kidnap Falco, capture Falco. I don't know. Yeah. They took Falco, and they're talking with Mikasa and Armin, and they're talking about Eren's decision to basically end the world. And John kind of goes on a little bit of a speech talking about Eren's train of thought. He's like, if Eren was thinking this way, then I guess you could kind of stretch it and say that he's doing it for us.
Yeah.
And then Armin obviously talks about how it's still not right and you can't be doing this stuff and it's still going too far. But then we see that the Titans are still attacking. And that's when Armin questions why these Titans are still attacking when Eren can in fact control them all. And they're going by Eren's will. And right before we jump to a conclusion with that, we get the whole Falco, well, what to do with Falco moment, which is basically in 3 decisions where John says, let's feed him to Pixis. Armin says, let's just leave him be. And Connie just makes the decision on his own and says, we're going to feed him to my mom. End of decision. And then when Armin pushes back saying, hey, we get it, man. I'm sure it sucks that your mom is, stuck in Titan form, but we can't be doing this to just some random kid. We have to come to some sort of accord with Marley now that it's the end of the world. And Connie snaps. Connie literally, I don't think we've ever seen Connie snap like this unless it was like 3 episodes ago when he was really upset.
Yeah.
But this is Connie's moment to kind of rebel and go rogue, and he kidnaps Falco to go feed to his mom. What do you guys think about Connie going rogue?
I mean, in fairness, that's a nice argument coming from Armin, who literally got favoritism to even get his Titan form. Literally was picked out over the logical, tactical decision of who to turn into a Titan.
That's what he says. He said you're only here because we gave you.
Yeah, exactly.
Titan.
I think it's I guess it kind of fits with the character. He's kind of also had that Sasha-ness where it's she's been gone for 4 years, right? The mom, she's been a Titan.
4
years after he found out.
Yeah.
So that's and then there was a couple years before that. She's dead, man. Leave it.
She's still alive because they don't die.
I know they don't die, but I mean
you're gone.
It's not a fresh wound for him, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I know that she's sort of in this unique position because she can she does seem to have some sentience. She can say words.
Yeah.
She said "Welcome home" to Connie when he shows up when they first see her.
Yeah.
And that's feels like a big clue to something. It feels like if there's a Titan that has just even a semblance of its former personality, maybe just leave that for a later date and try to try to just leave this kid to be a Titan for 5 minutes. But I guess it's also a liability. You don't want a guy from Marley messing up behind enemy lines or being able to do some more damage. I think to Eren's decision, whether or not it's even in Eren's hands, I think or why he would have the Titans still attacking his own people must be a diversion tactic, except he can just make them not care. He can make them forget if he wanted.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I really think that, since the beginning of this last season, from the first half as well, that Eren has been purposefully distancing them from himself because he knows that they're the ones that will have the means to stop him. whether that means like actually, killing him or like just convincing him to stop or something. Like he's really like isolating himself from them because he knows that they're gonna be the ones like that will have the power to do that. So I really think that maybe just in the sense of like leaving the Titans around them, that's just to keep them busy so they don't like try to chase after him or try to do something.
But can't he like just be like, you no longer remember that we were ever friends, or you no longer even know about this going on? Like he could just do that now, right?
I guess, but maybe he doesn't want to do that because I do think he still cares about them. I think that's the thing is. He doesn't want to like.
Can he like just compel them to like stop moving or like to just stay still or?
I don't know if it goes exactly like that.
Huh, okay.
So like to freeze or something. I don't know. I don't know if it goes that far.
Because does he have Zeke's power now? Like I guess that's the question. Does he?
That's the thing. I guess we don't know. We don't know where Zeke is like right now. Like it looked like he got fused with Eren in that process.
But that was some crazy shit.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I mean, I'm sure we're gonna find out what happened to Zeke, but it's definitely interesting to know. I mean, Yelena's reaction as far as like, these are Zeke's Titans, why are they coming after us?
Yeah.
Kind of implying that either Eren has like overwritten Zeke or Eren, like you said, Eric has somehow fused with Zeke or something happened to Zeke that we don't know yet. Even possibly death. He could have died. We don't really have a final decision on that.
Well, I guess the question is does that mean Eren absorbs his power or is it possible that Eren because he talked to everybody, so he did have Zeke's power to like speak into their minds. So
because when the coordinate thing came out and like reattached his head to his body, the last shot we see of Zeke are like the tendrils like going towards him, then the lightning bolt sparks off and like we don't see the rest of it. So like my assumption, I don't know if this is like what happened, was that they somehow fused together and like the power like absorbed Zeke into Eren, so now he eventually has his power as well.
It's very Lovecraftian. It's very color out of space.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, Eric, correct me if I'm wrong. Was something like this happening in season 1 with Annie and Eren, or was that something else?
It kind of was because like when they're fighting and they're grappling on the ground, and, like, they start like fusing together, like they start like folding into each other, but then they stop. But when Annie starts to do her hardening, and even it's funny at that point too. We went back to what we watched that moment. That's when Eren says like, "I'll destroy the world," like as at that moment is happening.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I mean, I think I knew from the episode title, not to like jump ahead here, but from the episode title, I was like, this is about Annie. Like obviously that's all I like about Annie. So the idea that this is not the idea that this is suddenly not gonna just leave us on this cliffhanger was like I was kind of annoyed. I was like, no, we just got to the point of the episode.
Yeah, I definitely saw the title of the episode, and as soon as I saw, it didn't click right away, but as soon as I saw Annie's dad at the very first scene, I was like, oh, this is about Annie. I totally get it now. The title of the episode as well. But let's keep moving on as far as the decision with Falco and Connie. Connie runs away with Falco, which again, I thought was I the only one who felt like, okay, this is Connie kind of signing his death sentence in TV format? Because I was like, if they're gonna pick Falco over Connie, they're gonna pick Falco.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's gonna get killed, but I feel like, you might get shot, bro, by like a very angry Gabby.
Yeah. Well, I also just like thought about the logistics of it. I was like, isn't his mom like pretty far away from this point? Like,
he was gonna run with Falco
just, like,
on his back.
Stuff there. Yeah, it's pretty far.
There's like some planes there, just flat plains, and if they aren't flat plains, the Titans certainly have turned them into flat plains.
Yeah,
where there once were trees.
Yeah, he has to like wait for them to like get out of the way.
Yeah, clear the forest.
Yeah, to get over there. But I agree though, just from a storytelling standpoint, Falco has a lot of like open-endedness to like explore with that. And Connie, I really do love Connie as a character. I loved him as the trio with Sasha and John, but I think that his story can come to a conclusion soon if you want to tie it up that way.
Yeah, I always felt like obviously there's I'm probably going to touch a couple buttons here or step on a couple people's feet by saying Connie was always one of the ones that I was always like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's Connie. I always preferred Sasha over Connie, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, what they say that one like joke, the one joke Attack on Titan has ever had, that one joke scene where they were like in the cart at the beginning of last season, and they were like, well, which one would like Connie? It was Connie and Sasha being like, who would be in charge? Or, like, who would be the whatever, and it was like, oh, we can't do it if you're an idiot. It's like, oh, whatever they said, that conversation where they were both kind of calling each other idiots and the other one wasn't getting it.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was like sort of prelude to like what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
Probably.
We only got Connie left.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens in the future as far as what happens with Connie's mom and Falco. But let's jump real quick to Gabby saving Kaya from Nile. R.I.P. Nile.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys caught that was Nile, but I was
Yeah,
like,
it was.
damn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you said it was
Yeah.
like that guy.
It was Niall. That was just
such a
hair and
bummer.
everything.
Yeah, it's such a bummer, obviously. But Gabby kind of redeems herself with Kaya and the rest of the Browse family, and they have a moment right afterwards talking about, who's the real devil in this situation. And Niccolo kind of steps in and talks about like, evil being in all of us and the devil being in all of us, and we just kind of have to make sure and escape the forest. Which to me, it kind of obviously echoed Sasha's dad's speech about escaping the forest last season in season 4, part 1, where he used the forest like as an analogy for war, essentially. So by escaping the forest, I mean, I guess he's meaning like just let's stop wars in general.
Yeah.
And wars being kind of the implication of what brings out the evil in people. Is that what you guys got from that?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about that. It was like just the idea of being lost in like the missing the trees for the forest or whatever the expression is, that they had to eventually stop, going blood for blood. And that's what the ultimate message is. And like in this episode, I think that's reflected in like, Gabby saving Sasha, like the
no, not Sasha.
sorry, Gabby saving Kaya, and the LD Shadis saving his group that like beat him up,
Yeah.
and like the Eldians saving like Yelena and stuff, and just like everyone coming together, like stop having like these grudges and like saying like, oh well, you did this to me, I'm gonna let you die. Just like, no, like, we have to like stop doing that and come together. Just like stop what's happening like right now, so we can like figure this all out together.
You know who might have been helpful here? Some Marlians.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have killed every single Marlian that was on the shore except for like that one guy who literally had to go, what did you guys daydream about? Like I wasn't there for that. I didn't get, you guys, somebody tell me what's going on. I guess Cart Titan is still alive. Peak's still alive.
Peak's around somewhere.
Peak's somewhere.
Yeah, she's crawling around.
Yeah. Peak is still, as you said, crawling around probably. That's definitely what I got from it as well, and I definitely feel like that was definitely a moment that was needed. We keep needing these Gabby moments, but I feel like we need them, especially after part 1, where a lot of people turned on Gabby and hated Gabby, frankly. So any moment we get with Gabby is definitely something that's necessary for the story in order to continue redeeming her character. But we finally get to that moment, as you mentioned, Eric, which is Keith coming in to save the recruits that beat his ass last time they saw each other, and basically telling them to put on the ODM gear. And as soon as he's saying this, and obviously we get the Titans coming towards the buildings, we hear Barricades play. I don't know if you've recognized that song, Eric, which it was played at season 2 finale. And it starts playing, and it's like, yo, we're back, bro. We're back to throwback to Attack on Titan, killing Titans.
Just like what it once was, the good old days, just zipping around.
Good old days.
Titans,
when things were careless and free, like you just thought there were Titans attacking your homeland, and not like larger geopolitical issues that require like a genocide.
Yeah. How'd you feel about the ODM gear scene and Keith kind of having his moment? I mean, Keith has got to be like ancient, right? Like,
I was saying the same thing because he was like, however old Eren's mom is. Like, let's say he's like 10 years older than her, probably.
Yeah, he was.
Were they kids at the same time? I know
they seem like in the same age range, but he seemed like a little bit older. He was already like, captain of like the service.
He was already commander, right? Yeah,
commander. Yeah. And so like he was had done a lot with his life, and so like he must be like at least like 60, I think, by this point.
I think he's at least like 65, 70, and I was just like, damn, bro, like the 65-year-old guy is out here like freaking throwing hands.
Time moves a little bit weird because like we spend so much time with them when they're younger kids, and then like it kind of speeds up to condense 4 years of stuff, but they're still like these kids are still like in their 20s or like
maybe like late teens, early 20s.
Late teens, early 20s. Like they're not super old. So and they were when.
Yeah, I think 20s, right? I think that's what the age. I think Reiner is like 21, right?
I think
because like if it's only been 4 years since we hung out with them in season 3, right?
Yeah.
So that would be like then they were 16 there. So yeah, that makes sense. That would be like 20-ish.
Yeah.
Not enough to drink. Just to say that like it's only been like 14, 13 years since the initial events where we met him.
Yeah.
So like, you know, if you want to say he was 60 then, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is cool though. Yeah. It was
It's
rad
still
though.
pretty. Yeah, it's still pretty old to be ODM gear and flying around.
Oh yeah, it's just like you're getting your ass kicked by these people. Like he doesn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny too because to go back to season 2 after this and go back to the first Sasha episode and just be like, oh my god, the animation style was so different. Like it looked like a more kids like show, even though it was terrifying. Like it you go back and you look at it compared to this animation style, and you're like, oh my god, like it looks like more like childlike in a way. Like it's just drawn with like brighter colors. The lines are like very blunt. Like there's not that much detailing on the face. It's just like it looks more like a kid show.
Yeah, like just like from the aesthetic of
from
it.
The aesthetic, not in terms of like who drew it.
Yeah, for sure. I also want to jump to obviously John leads the crew. John's my favorite. I've been saying this since like season 3, end of season 3, after my boy died, after Erwin. My real favorite died. John became my favorite, and I feel like John is kind of the sensible one in the group as far as like trying to balance 2 decisions at once. But he kind of leads the crew into taking down all the Titans, and he has a conversation with Onyokopon and talking about what Eren said in the speech that he gave, and he essentially says he just said he's picking us over the world, and Onyokopon is like that means he's going to trample my home. And he kind of like woke John up, I think, from his previous speech, in my opinion, because I feel like John was kind of giving the speech as far as like, hey man, you know, shit happens. But after seeing
they brought it on themselves, I think what he says.
Yeah, exactly. And after seeing Onyokopon, someone who, I mean, he didn't do anything to you guys. He joined you guys because he thought you guys would help him. And he gets mistreated by Marley as well, his homeland, his home people. It's like, do we deserve this? Do I deserve this? Do my people deserve this? Like he really kind of made John feel those kind of emotions in that quick scene that I felt was very necessary.
Yeah, sort of like what's the girl's name again? The girl, like the younger girl that was saved by Sasha.
Okay.
Yeah, Kaya. Like the way that like Kaya has sort of worked as Gabby's like moral compass. Like just like redirecting her to being like, oh, like when she gave that speech, she was like, did my mom deserve to be killed? Like, what did she ever do? Like, she didn't even know about like Marley. Like, what did she know from like all this stuff? Like when she gave that speech, I think that was like the first time that Gabby ever woke up, like a little bit, and then that sort of put Gabby on this path where now she's like saving the devils and picking them and having them help her find her people, which is really just Falco at this point.
Yeah.
I think Peak too, but she doesn't seem that interested in finding wherever Peak is.
Yeah, but Peak too is I think is kind of in the same vein where like what she said to Gabby when she saved her.
She's like, I don't trust.
She's like, I don't trust Marley, but I trust my friends.
Yeah.
And it goes back to like what I was saying, which is just like it's really about protecting and trusting people who you're close to, as opposed to like the larger like machinations that are trying to push you into things.
No.
But with John though, like I agree though, like John has been since the beginning of the show the guy who like is able to rise to the occasion. And he makes the decisions in the moment that need to be made. And he's always been really good at that, at being a leader in a crisis. Maybe not necessarily like for like the overall, structure of what people need, but just for at the very moment in battle, he knows what to do.
What's his name was supposed to be able to do? Armin?
Kind of, yeah. But Armin's like more like big picture, so like strategy, like thinking things ahead.
Yeah.
John even gives him that speech where he's like, I can only do this kind of like planning. Exactly, you have to do the big planning.
Yeah, and, that happens in season 3,
Yeah. So, but you're right. I agree. Like Onyokopon, like telling him, like, "Hey, man, like this is like gonna affect like people not just who attacked you and like instigated this, but like Eren's like gonna tear the whole thing down. Like this is like we understand. I think everyone understands where Eren's coming from, but the scale at which he's like striking back is a little excessive.
Even like Armin says, he's like, a mass genocide of this scale. He's not even saying like don't do genocide. Basically, he's like, don't do genocide that is the scale of the entire world. Because I guess my question is, why did it still feels like we're still having the ball hidden a little bit in terms of what his plan is, Eren's plan is, because like why give them the heads up? If you don't care about the Marley Eldians, like, and you don't care about any Eldian that's not already on Paradise, why tell everybody? Like, you can contact your friends through like your direct line to them or whatever. Like, you don't need to contact all the potential Titans.
Yeah,
it feels like that was supposed to be like if you want to survive, you can come here, and like it's almost like if you have any allies or good people that are left that are human, they can come here and like they can wait it out.
Yeah,
I feel like that has to be the implication of why he would even give them a heads up.
Yeah,
instead of just letting them wait for his own death.
Yeah, it's like if you have access to an airship that can find this tiny island, then
Yeah.
be my guest, I guess. I think that's kind of his implication is that, the war is over. I won. I have all the nukes. If you want to avoid all the nukes, just come to this island if you can find a way to get here. I don't know what's going to happen. I kind of feel like it's interesting, too, that we still haven't gotten, and I can't get over it just because we saw it with like a tarp covering it, but the Azuma B2 helicopter or whatever the hell that is.
Yeah.
The
You mean
chopper.
they have Marley that the sister saw? Or?
No, it's do you guys remember the Zuma B2s brought? They said it's a specially designed, modified flying machine.
Yeah.
And that's what they said, like a super long name. And it just looked like a chopper or like some sort of like twin jet.
Oh wow, that's gonna be fun.
And I was like, ooh, and they teased that as being like a special weapon the Azuma B2s have.
Yeah.
Maybe they're gonna pull a Age of Ultron.
And
evacuate Sokovia.
The helicarrier.
I mean, that makes sense because again, just like the way that like Zeke didn't know what the ODM gear was, because like why would he? They wouldn't know what like helicopters are.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't have a word for it. They would just make up a big long word. And that's something I do appreciate about Attack on Titan is that like you start in like the thing that a lot of fantasy starts in, which is like feudal, knights and kings and queens. But then it very quickly, after the third season, ramps up. So you're like, no, we're at least in like 1940s. Like they have the technology of like at least 1940. And I think now we're seeing that it's even sped up past then. And it's, more concurrent to like than we even thought. It's just happened on a different timeline.
Yeah.
So they might have, just gotten to the world's first helicopter. Like, but they already have other kinds of stuff that is maybe more advanced. And that's so cool. I think that's so cool that some people are still riding horses and acting like they're in Renaissance Festival. Like the rest of the world is like, no, we've got choppers. Like we're good. We have telephones.
Yeah. I think they implied too that the Azuma B2s were some sort of like superpower technology country that has like all the technology. And that
that's cool.
Yeah, because they implied that with the 3D maneuver gear, because they said that was built by them and that was some sort of like secret cool technology that they had for forever.
Is that the ladies' island or like the ladies' place? The place that's like next to Aldean?
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, where's she at?
Yeah, I wonder. Maybe they'll come.
I mean, I'm sure she's going to come up, knowing that her country is now at the point of being trampled. I'm sure she'll come up for sure. But we end with Gabby having a conversation with Armin, and Gabby kind of asking the real questions here to Armin, and kind of pulling the whole like, "Hey, like this supposed to be your boy? Like this your boy? This your friend? Like this Eren guy? This come get your man's, bro. He's about to trample the world." Why can't he just take out military bases? Why can't he just save Connie's mom on his own? Like he could do other stuff, but he's choosing to go the most violent route. How'd you feel about Gabby asking all those like legit questions?
I mean, they would be legit questions coming from anyone except Gabby, somebody who just shot off Eren's head, and started this whole thing. And like ostensibly started a lot more than that when she like fucked with Sasha. Like, sorry, I didn't mean to curse, but like, you know what I mean? Like if anyone else besides Gabby was asking that question, I feel like it would be a lot more impactful.
Yeah, but I guess it takes Gabby, someone like her, to like really ask, like this guy is, a little unhinged. Like if you think like what he's doing is all right, and it's true though. It's true. Like Eren has like I guess like this godlike power, but it's true to like if she doesn't know Eren as well as like we do and his friends
and she thinks he's evil.
And like so like she like basically is asking questions of like why isn't he being more logical about this? But we know like he lost logic like a long time ago. Like he's a legit like psycho about like what he wants to do, which is just like annihilate like everyone that he believes hurt him. And it started with like the idea of like Titans being the enemy. And then the concept of enemy, spread out to Marley and then spread out to like the world, and just like this idea that the world is against you. So like to him, it's like it's not worth differentiating between like Marley and others. It's just like everyone else is the enemy. And if, like you said, at the end of season 3, if we kill all our enemies out there, then we'll finally be safe.
I'm not even sure. It's weird because I still think Eren's hiding the ball from us. I think he wants to appear more villainous or like whatever perspective the show's taking. Like still has like another couple twists with Eren's character to reveal. Like I don't think the stuff that he showed his father, that he purposely showed his father, that caused his father to reconcile with Zeke, was like naturally it's a perspective. It's not necessarily what is the end result of the everything. Like he showed his dad something obviously that made his dad still give him the Titan power. Like, so like there was something that I think that and he even said that last episode. He said, I didn't show you what made like our dad still decide to give me the power. Like I didn't show you that scene. I showed you like the scene where right afterwards. So there was clearly something that Eren knows about big picture. And I don't know if it's necessarily he's framing himself in the best light. I think he like needs stuff to happen a certain way, so people, because he knows things need to unfold in a certain way, so people need to perceive things. Having had it happen in a certain way. I don't mean that means that he's a good guy or that he's not evil. I just think that his whole thing is we need to be safe and I need to protect my friends. And at the end of season 3, I think he realizes like the only way that's going to happen is if we get rid of everyone who wants to kill us, which apparently is the whole world. I still think he can be convinced out of that, just because it's not. But why else tell all the Eldians on Marley? Like, why else tell them that you can? Because he considered them enemies too.
Yeah, it's like I guess like the most minimal thing he can do is like give the Eldians a heads up. Like, hey guys, like sorry, you're gonna get caught in this. Yeah,
I mean, but it seems like an illogical thing to do. We're saying he's not logical. It seems like an illogically compassionate thing to do. Maybe.
Yeah, there's definitely something there that we don't know that he knows, that he probably saw in the future that he told his dad that was going to happen as well. I think he implied it too when he gave his speech. I mean, I rewatched last week's episode so many times that I caught on to the point where he said, they won't stop until every single one of us are dead. I think he saw that in the future. I think that's a possibility that maybe he went further in time to Attack Titans to where he saw mass genocide for Eldians or for subjects of Ymir. And maybe that's why that's what he showed his dad and to, kind of really push him to give him the Titan form. But again, we don't know. There's probably something else he knows that's up there in his head. But it's definitely wild to see the decisions he's taking. And I'm definitely curious to see what we kind of left off on our cliffhanger, which is Annie. What is Annie going to do? Like, we have no clue. Like, she could, sabotage all of Paradise or hold people hostage, or she could join the team. Like, what do you guys think Annie is going to be in this whole situation?
She's gonna have a lot of catching up to do first about like what happened
to
Overlast, like since she's from Frozen.
Doesn't Armin gonna have like some feels for her because like he has some of Bertholt's
that's why he goes to visit her, thinking that he has compassion for her, because he has like some of Bertholt's memories infused with his, so like he does have like some sort of connection with her, I think we're gonna probably have to catch up with her like a little bit, because like she's gonna have to understand that like the Eldians are like now several like decades more advanced than they were when she got frozen,
even though it was like 7 years ago.
And she knows about like that. They know about the world, they know about Marley, like they know about her mission.
Her dad's in trouble.
Berthold's dead. Like Reiner's like on the run, and like all this other stuff has changed so much since she's been frozen. It's gonna be like a really weird novelty to see her catch up with everything.
Unless she's been somewhere in stasis, like unless she was somewhere. I think we're gonna probably get some shading in that she wasn't just kept in like cryostasis. Like she was, her brain went somewhere, her consciousnness was somewhere. Like she
maybe the coordinate.
Yeah, she was something like that. Because what she looks like is like she's in a chrysalis. Like she's about to emerge as like another thing, almost maybe. Mm-hmm. I mean, kind of like the cool power that we haven't really seen Eren like use. We saw a little bit of it, but I still think it could be used so much cooler. It's like the Warhammer stuff, and like we saw that like she has the ability to freeze her back, just like the armor Titan. Like, why would she have powers that the other Titans have? Like, what's the point of and it's always been funny to me because like, why even call her the female Titan? Does it have to be given to a woman? Like, what is that Titan actually?
Now you get into the specifics of your questions.
That's
we've been asking this for a while.
I've been asking this for a while.
Yeah, I remember this.
I don't think she's a female. I don't think that her Titan is female Titan. I think her Titan is another Titan. We've just been calling it the female Titan because that's what they've called it. Like, I think the Titan has a power. Like, whether that power is just getting other Titans' powers or what, we just don't know. They just said the female Titan.
I feel like that's definitely something that's going to come to play. You're right. I think Annie has some sort of, just like the Attack Titan can see future. I think Annie's Titan can probably do something that we still don't know about. That's definitely a huge possibility. And I think that's why they teased it so hard this episode, Annie's appearance, that I feel like it has to be important. It can't just be like hooking up with Armin, even though that'll be
why would they start with showing her dad? Like, why start with like that's the one person who you have to remember who that guy is? I was like, I don't remember that guy looking in the show. You have to remember that.
She will be pissed if she's gonna realize that there's one person specifically that will be trampled that she cares about, which is her dad. I don't think she's gonna be cool with that at all. So I'm assuming she's not gonna be on Team Eren right away. So I'm curious to see what's gonna happen. I mean, do you guys feel like we're gonna get enough? We have what, 6 episodes left?
What was the total count? Do you know?
I think it was 12, right?
12. So yeah, we're halfway done now.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there's a lot. There's more than with the pacing of where we're at now. Like it's already kind of gotten a lot further than I thought we would have. I thought the rumbling, if it were going to happen, I thought it would have happened like 2 or 3 episodes before the end.
Yeah, me too. I didn't think I didn't think the rumbling was going to like be in effect for the rest of the turns here, like the rest of the episodes.
Yeah. So my assumption, my best guess is like the following episodes will be about them thinking of some sort of plan to stop Eren. Like whether that's just convincing him or killing him or something. It's just, like a mission to like undo this because they all are going to realize like it's not worth it. It's not worth destroying the whole world.
Is this is this undoable though? Is this redoable?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I mean, it depends because he sort of like has his power split between himself and Zeke. If Zeke's still around, he doesn't even look like he's a human form anymore. Like he addressed them like in a voice, but like we saw what fused together with Zeke, and it was like. It's like a big lizard.
Skeleton lizard thing.
It's like a lizard thing. Yeah, he doesn't look like he's exactly a human anymore, or like has the ability to become human. There might not be a way back for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this could be. I mean, this is definitely the end, considering that is the final season. So, I'm just curious how you could even consider stopping that, considering like what Reiner said. I mean, he could technically control everyone's wills, everyone's thoughts, emotions. Like, it's kind of hard to fight someone who has that kind of power over you. It would have to be someone who is not a subject of a mirror, who can maybe do something that's a little bit more significant. But again, we don't know. That's why I think these Umubitos would come in, because they tease that, and I'm sure that'll come back somehow.
Yeah, and then like in that vein, I guess like then Mikasa is probably like of our known characters probably has the best chance of getting to him.
Maybe, except that like he can apparently control her will too. I mean,
maybe it's about overcoming that. Maybe it's about like breaking that its own cycle of like being subject to him.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe that's like its own kind of subjugation. Yeah. We've never found out like what her people are about.
Yeah, like or even if it's like true, Armin's like trying to tell her like he just made it up, like the whole thing. So I think that's going to come to like a very conclusive head.
Sure, but like we saw in season 1 very early on, like when we thought Eren was 8, that like she was like, I feel compelled to fight all of a sudden.
Yeah,
like
thing that.
She's definitely being. It's definitely a thing.
Yeah, but I guess the idea that maybe she can overcome it. The same way like the story is also very much about overcoming like your oppressors and like people who tell you that you're one thing.
Yeah, last week was all about that.
Yeah.
I just think like I don't think there's a putting a genie back in the ball. There's no rebuilding the wall. There's no like hiding out. Like, I mean, you can like get people's memories erased, but I don't think there's any forgetting that this ever happened. Now, something really interesting, and we're not sure like if this is going to play into it at all. Like, no spoilers, but when we saw like a quick flash at one point, Eric thought he saw somebody with like modern haircut and like earrings.
So I guess this is going back to when Zeke and Eren touched when Eren got his head shot off.
I
want to talk about this, like just like we talk about it with each other. We see the flashes of Eren, like seeing like all the events that occurred and like that to come to this point, and like the weird montage of like we saw Grisha and like all the other ones. Like very quickly, if you slow it down, you can see in like his like pathways, there's like 2 shots. There's 2 people in it. There's like a girl wearing like goth makeup. She has like cross earrings, like a choker. Yeah. And then there's like a kid with like glasses and look like he's wearing like a regular t-shirt. So like again, like I never read the manga. This is not like future spoilers or anything. It's just speculation. Like I just think that we're gonna somehow see like events
2,000 years from now.
Like 2,000 years from now, like in modern times, like some sort of like descendants of the Eldians.
Although it might not take them 2,000 years if they're already at helicopters. It might just
get to chokers.
It'd be 100 years.
Chokers might be a 5-minute gap in their timeline.
It could just be Izumabitu's island.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how they dress up there.
Yeah. Super goth, really into like Jesus. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. 2 combinations right there. I actually did catch that too, just because I do the same thing you do and I slow down frames. It kind of, the guy with glasses kind of looked like Armin to me.
Yeah.
He looked like a young Armin, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Maybe a descendant of Armin. I don't know. That's just all speculation. It could also be like the multiverse theory. Different versions of themselves.
I mean,
maybe it's a different version of them.
We'll add for Doctor Strange.
Yeah, this is Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. I do think like Historia is still also in place. She has been MIA. We got a brief shot of her when Eren was addressing everybody, and she was using that same pose that Ymir used when she was watching
Creepy.
her army go off to war.
Yeah.
Which is like just sort of like in a chair, kind of like relaxing or like looking kind of like subjugated, I guess, in a rocking chair with a child about to be born. I mean, that child is probably going to be a huge key to all of this. Like the kid that's about to be born, like
yeah. I think it's almost like the child, her child in itself is like the safety net or the end game beyond even this like genocide plan. Like it's like something else that's like kind of waiting in the wings to like resolve itself.
We think it's Eren's kid. I'm not sure if everyone else thinks that, but like it definitely seems like it's Eren's kid.
Yeah, like I don't know if we talked about this last season, but like
I'm
pretty sure that he that he helped somehow, like, you know, with her pregnancy and erasing everyone's memories of like what happened there, because everyone has the weird sudden memory that she met some like farm boy she grew up with and like and had a kid with him. It's like came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it comes out of nowhere. They're just like, oh, you guys remember that Historia like met that guy and like we all know about it.
Yeah.
I kind of tend to agree with that as well. But again, it's I don't know. It's weird. It's definitely strange that'll all come into play, considering that Eren was so keen on, you know, getting the founder and, you know, getting that power from Ymir. So I'm curious what his plan is for Historia, because I'm sure he has a plan. He has to have a plan for her somehow, which is still kind of creepy considering she seemed like she didn't want to get pregnant, kind of like OG Ymir didn't want to get pregnant.
Yeah. Well, and like I think that like Grisha's whole thing about like keep saving like that one guy who's going to grow up in like, you know, or that is Historia's dad, like making sure that like that's the guy that is saved, making sure like even though Historia's already around, but like making sure that these events play out in a certain way seems to be like to keep that bloodline alive, to keep the royal bloodline alive, because they need that safety net of like a kid or something that can like control Eren, or like that he can be controlling, or that gives him the power of Zeke's like power, because if he touches it,
or maybe this, you know, this is will all end with some sort of stalemate about like the between the two people of Eldian and like the rest of the world, and like her child will just be the future of like trying to make a better world without these prejudices.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and I'm sure next week is going to be another wild episode for sure. This was definitely a fun, weird throwback episode, mixed with like a lot of like, you know, OG kind of feels, but still having some questions about Eren's decisions, which I thought was pretty cool. So fun episode for sure. Where can everyone find you guys? I appreciate you guys coming on, by the way.
Oh no, we love it. We talk about Attack on Titan all day, every day. We usually do. You can find us over on my YouTube channel. We do the Video Chronic Pop Culture quizzes over there Mondays and Thursdays. We do Cinema Bias. I have a show with Alex Mack. Although she'll be on hiatus soon, and we're gonna have Ferris sub in. That's on Tuesdays. We also have our own podcast network called Content Candy. You want to check us out on like wherever you get podcasts. I have a bunch of shows on there. We do the Salty Popcorn reviews. Eric has a new show coming out with some reactors. So that's where you can find us. Oh, and in Fangoria. I have a piece out in Fangoria right now interviewing the Scream writers. So check that out.
Yes, interviewing the writers of Scream, the new Scream.
Yes. And the writers of the directors of some of the Moon Knight. Have that coming out soon
Justin
too.
Benson and Aaron Moorhead, the new directors of Moon Knight. Coming out with the new film, Something in the Dirt,
which is crazy, and it's part of its own extended universe that they have.
Cool. I love it. I love those guys. Those guys are awesome.
They're awesome.
They're super cool. Eric, same. Where can everyone find you?
Kind of the same vein. Adding her chronic across social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. Then hanging out with her again, doing the Video Chronic pop culture quizzes every week, every Monday and Thursday. Maybe once this is done, the series is done, we'll do a Attack on Titan quiz. For everyone to jump in on.
We're concurrently watching Battlestar Galactica. Me for the first time, him not. But it's a show that it also feels like it's very much in the same world, or like thesis world of Attack on Titan, where it's like very militaristic, very whatever.
A lot of similarities.
And I feel like that would be another good quiz too.
And definitely know some people for that. But otherwise, yes, on our podcast network, Content Candy, I'm interviewing food people there again with reactors that that we know and love for a Reactorverse podcast about shows and stuff that we're doing. So check us out there soon.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool to hear. You can find me, guys, at Squad Literates. You can follow us at First Cut TMO, and make sure you subscribe to First Cut as always. Make sure you guys stick around here. Leave your comments. What do you think about this episode? What do you think about the crew? Who do you feel like was the MVP of this episode? Was it Gabby, John, Armin? Let us know in the comments down below. But either way, guys, for the Attack on Titan crew, we are going to be peacing out. So peace out. Peace.
Bye.